What's going on? Thanks for stopping through. I'm glad you decided to pop on in and check this out. And I know your time is extremely important, so I'm going to be very brief. As you may or may not know, my name is Brian Maxwell, and excuse the sounds in the background, helicopters, planes flying over. And, I made this video because the fact of the matter is I get a lot of people who are struggling in sales. And I'm going to be specific as far as with automotive sales. And the reason why they're struggling is really not even their own fault. And let's face it, if you work at a dealership right now, you did not have plans when you were in high school that this is what you will be doing. I mean, unless your dad owned it or you grew up in that environment. But typically, most people start working at a dealership for one or two reasons. Number one, they're either unemployed or they know somebody who was doing it and says, if that idiot can make money doing it, I know I can. And sometimes there's the third factor that kind of works their way in it. They are employed, but they realize that they're doing nothing but swapping hours for dollars. And they know that one of the things that people do is they travel. And driving is the most common method of travel. So they say, you know what, let me at least get into an industry where I know that there's demand. But here's the biggest mistake that I see a lot of people make when they come in. And again, many times it's not even their own fault. When they come into the business, they start off at a dealership. The dealership gives them these illusions of grandeur, which says, you can make $100,000 a year doing this. And is that true? Yes, that's a fact. But do most people do it? Absolutely not. Most people come in and they kind of struggle. And I'm not talking about for 1 or 2 years. Some people are in this business for years and are still making around $40,000, $50,000 a year. And I'm not knocking that. If that's working to pay their bills, by all means, that's all good. But why settle for 40 or 50 when you really can make 100? And one of the biggest issues I know that I had when I came in, and I hear from a lot of people, is that they really just don't know what to say. And most people I hear talk sound just like I did almost 20 years ago, which is, I hate scripts. I don't believe in scripts. I believe the scripts make you sound robotic. Well, a script isn't designed for you to sound robotic. A script is designed for you to be prepared on what to say. And let's think about this. Think about a movie. What is it that they give an actor that's going to be in a movie? I don't care if it's Denzel Washington or Will Smith or whatever actor or actress you want to name. They're given a script, and then what they do is they rehearse the lines so that when you watch the movie, they can emotionally stimulate you because the way that they're saying the words seems just so natural. And that's what successful people in sales do also. The ones that struggle, that fail to make money, that are job jumping and going store to store and having the same exact problems, these are the ones that believe that they don't like scripts and they don't want to use a script. But I got a piece of information for you. Whether you like or believe in scripts or not, you're already using a script. You see, what happens is when you deal with people every day, you develop a habit of what you say in certain situations. So you are actually creating your own script. Now, the question is whether that script is effective or ineffective. That's the question. Because under different situations, your script may change. And when I say your script, meaning the non-written script is just the verbal one that people get into a habitual routine of saying the same stuff over and over again. In most cases, the people that they learn what to say from aren't even the top producers of the store. The top producers of the store are so busy working with customers and getting deals knocked down that they don't really have the time to sit up and just train and educate some green pea or some new person in the business. 9 times out of 10, it's somebody that's at the bottom or hovering in the middle that's going to teach you how they do things. So you know what happens? You learn how to be mediocre. When at the end of the day, here's the power of a script. The better prepared you are under certain situations, the more confident and comfortable you are. The more confident and comfortable you are, the more emotion you can put into the words you speak. The more emotion you put into the words you speak, the more believable you become to the prospect or to the customer. And at the end of the day, people buy based off 90% emotion, and we back it up with 10% logic. So you want to make sure that you do start using a script. You start, and there's only several, certain things are so common that you've been through so many times that it should be so easy for you to be able to know what these certain objections or issues that come up on a common basis are, and then create yourself or learn what to say under those situations. It works. The best and top producers use it. The bottom feeders and the one that struggle to make money say they don't believe in it. But until today, now you realize you're already using one. Okay, so just make sure that you're using the right one that's effective. Now, what does it take to be successful in sales? At the end of the day, number one, it takes confidence. Okay, if you're not a confident person, and when I say confident, not so much in the product or even in your store, in your own ability to learn, in your own ability to grow, in your own ability to help people. If you're not confident, you will never succeed in this business, and not just in automotive sales or sales, but just in life in general. And at the end of the day, if you don't believe in you, how in the hell can you ever expect anybody else to believe in you? You have to learn to be your own raving fan. Now, what helps us build, becoming our own fan is that when we know we're putting in the effort, when we know we're putting in the work. And let's think about it. We can fake in front to everybody else, but deep down inside ourselves, we know when we're not putting out maximum effort. We know when we had a little bit more in the tank to give and we didn't. Those are the things that keep us up at night. Those are the things that create that depression and that anxiety, because deep inside yourself, you know that you can do more and be better, but we choose to do otherwise until right now. So it takes to be successful, you have to have belief in your own ability too. Are you confident in your ability to learn? Are you confident in your ability to develop? Are you confident in your ability to learn new things? And you should be. And that's something that can be built. Good salespeople are not born. They're created. They're made. So don't believe that anybody just came out the womb, being able to just get out there and just make money. It's learning. It's a progression. But most folks don't give themselves enough time to be able to grow and to be able to develop. They get in, and if they don't see instantaneous results with whatever effort they're putting out, they tuck tail and they run off to the next thing. And then they find themselves, it's like, quicksand. It's like they find themselves sinking again, they get out and they jump over to something else. And I realize no matter where you go, unless you change what's going on up here, everything will be the same. And let me give you an analogy I like to share with people is this. Your cell phone, and I'm pretty sure you have a cell phone, your cell phone has software update requests probably 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times a year. Now, the computer was created and developed based off the human brain, okay? Now, if your cell phone, this mini computer in your pocket, requires up to 10 software updates a year so it can perform at its peak with the other upgrades and updates of technology that's going on, how much software updating do you believe the supercomputer that we carry around on our shoulders has to have? You see how people running around in present day with past years programming, and that's just not effective, and it's just not going to work. To be effective today, you have to make sure your software is updated. Many people aren't learning new things, acquiring new skills, or developing any new habits. Therefore, it's just like being in that mouse wheel. No matter how hard you run, no matter how hard you fight, you still gonna find yourself like standing in place, going nowhere. When at the end of the day, the objective is to move forward. When I first got started in this business, like most people, I was unemployed, going through issues. My family had just been evicted out of our house. And so when I came into it, I remember them telling me things to say. And I would say, man, I'm not comfortable saying that. That's not how I talk. Little did my ignorant know-it-all behind realize, yeah, I wasn't comfortable saying it because I had never said it. And of course, it felt uncomfortable to me because I wasn't confident in the things I was saying. Why? Because I wasn't rehearsing it. I didn't believe in reading books, training, going in, doing anything to make myself better. I really just came in and would wing it and say, I kind of do things my own way. And guess what? I would have months where I was barely covering the draw. And then I would have some months where I made a little bit of money, but it was so inconsistent that I couldn't even on a monthly basis be able to budget my bills because I truly had no idea of what I was going to be able to make. But once I adopted and adapted and I started to hone my skills, I started to learn my rebuttals. I started to learn my script to where the better and the more comfortable and natural the words flow, my results, they leaped up and the consistency stayed. My first year in, I made $43,577. The year that I stepped out of there, I made over $140,000. And before I went on to start, doing what I'm doing now and helping and training folks. So I've been at the bottom. And then I was right there, at the top of the board too. And I will tell you, the difference came in me knowing what to say under certain situations and being prepared to handle it. So you got to be prepared. If you're not prepared, you're going to struggle. You're going to have that fear That you know how you get that you get nervous when that customer says something and you start sweating and whatnot. It's only because you don't know what to say. Once you know what to say, you won't sweat anymore. You won't be uncomfortable anymore. Matter of fact, you will know that it's coming. You'll expect it. Matter of fact, you'll hope that they say certain things because you're prepared for it, where you can just sit back in your chair and no matter what they say, you expect it and you're prepared. Okay. You also want to have some belief in the product that you're promoting. Can't tell you how many times I can see the main reason why a person is struggling is because they don't believe in their product or in their dealership. And if you don't believe in it, how can we ever expect a customer or a client or a prospect is going to believe in it? Okay, so we have to be willing to find something. One thing I say to do, it doesn't matter what brand you promote. At the end of the day, you need to find 1 to 3 things about that vehicle or about your dealership that you would say, you know what? I like the way they do this, or they do this in a very good way, and I'm proud to be a part of this. When you can identify 1 to 3 things to hang your hat on, when you talk, again, you have more emotion. You're more believable. And I don't believe in lying to customers. I do believe in being straight up and down and being honest. And so to be honest that you believe in your company and that you believe in the product you're promoting, you need to identify 1 to 3 things that you would say, you know what, this feature on this vehicle right here alone can save lives. And I believe that that's priceless. So because that's there, I believe in this product because it can save a life, or because it does this, or because it does that. Same thing with your company, with your dealership. You have to. Because it comes across, you got to realize something. When these people are coming into your store, they're looking for a reason to disqualify you. They have so many options out there. And the person who earns their business, that's right, earns it, is the person that expresses so much believability and conviction in what they're talking about and what it is that they're helping them buy, that they say, shoot, man, this must be an awesome option because this person seemed like they really jump through the roof. And I'm not talking about that fake happy-go-lucky type excitement. I'm just talking about passion, pure passion. And you know, when you're speaking to somebody, you could feel that energy when a person is passionate about what they're saying, when they really enjoy what it is that they do, and they really believe in the methods and the things and the options that they're presenting to somebody else. It just comes across. And I want you to realize something. The words that we speak literally are about 10% of our communication. Our voice inflection is another 35%. Do you know a little bit more than 50%? 50% of our communication comes through body language. It comes through the way we express ourselves. You know, so you want to be mindful. You know, it's like when your mother used to say, it's not what you say, but how you say it. That is so true and it is so factual. So you have to learn how to find conviction in what it is that you do, what it is you're promoting, and what it is you're helping people buy. And if you notice, I keep saying help people buy because people hate to be sold, but they love to buy. So when you try to sell, guess what? You're missing out on the opportunity to be able to work with this person because that's what it is. It's a partnership. It's not you against them. It's you with them to help them make a smart, safe buying decision and do business with you. If you treat them like an adversary and they treat you like an adversary, you'll lose. They're going to ask you to drop price and cut it to where you're probably making a mini, or the store is taking a loss just to move a unit. And all of that could have been avoided if you worked together rather than against one another. Because at the end of the day, the customer's going to win either by deciding not to do it and leaving and taking that time from you, or by doing it, but making you strip it down to the point to where you say, my goodness, dude, what? I just spent this time for what? I barely made any money. Okay. So it's all about your beliefs. It's all about your conviction. It's all about just, you know, being somebody, an advocate, you know, being somebody that's a brand ambassador. That's what it's about. That's a new coin term, brand ambassador. And that's what you want to be. If you're afraid to tell your family and your friends about what you do, you don't believe. You're not a brand ambassador. Those should be the people who know what you do first and foremost. And you should scream it from the rooftops. There's nothing to be ashamed of, because the way that they get to and from their place of business, the way that they get to and from seeing family members and friends, the way that they were able to get someone and get to somebody or help somebody in a case of emergency is by people like us helping them to be able to get that transportation. So it's actually a public service rather than a disservice. And you know, people buying a vehicle today, it doesn't have to be painful. Matter of fact, it should be painless. People say, oh man, it's so competitive. You can't make any money. The reason why it's competitive and nobody's making money is because most salespeople suck. They really do. So if the customer goes to more than one store and has a horrible experience without any value building, without any positive experience, the only way they can make the decision on what the best option is going to be about price. Then it's about who's the thirstiest and willing to give it away just to move a unit and have a strike on the board, but you barely made any money. It's not about that. It's about identifying and learning how to be a solution provider. That's what it is. And I want you to think about something. Every successful businessman or businesswoman is so because they identified a problem and they presented a solution. That's what it's all about. Why are the best doctors the best doctors? Because they provide health solutions. Why are the best restaurants the best restaurants? Because they help you provide, food solutions. Why is the best, pizza place the best pizza delivery place? Because they help you solve a problem. They provide a solution. Man, if you're hungry and don't feel like leaving the couch, we'll bring the pizza to you. It's just being a solution provider. So make sure you begin to ask yourself, am I being a solution provider or am I trying to just be this salesperson, this car salesman? And that's another thing. When I hear people call themselves a car salesman, words have power, right? And the term car salesman triggers such a negative perception in the mind of people when they hear it that they automatically say, ugh, you're one of those. At the end of the day, you're a product specialist. You're an automotive sales professional. You're a sales consultant. That's what you are. The way you present yourself, the way you speak about yourself will have a big impact on how you see yourself. So if in your mind you had a negative perception on car salesman and you constantly call yourself that, that's what creates that icky feeling that says, oh my God, am I one of those? What am I doing? How did I get here? But when you identify yourself as a professional, you begin to feel and treat yourself that way too. And at the end of the day, everybody wants to deal with a professional, with a specialist, excuse me. Get a little bit of drink out of my Jacksonville Jaguars cup. I represent to the fullest, okay? But everybody wants to deal with a professional, okay? So just make sure that you're a solution provider, how you view yourself, how you address yourself. All of that stuff has to change. Now, one of the other keys that I want to touch on is why so many struggle to make money. Because at the end of the day, that's what we're there for. You're not there just because, kicks and giggles, because it's not a leisure club. And you're not there just to hang out. And at the end of the day, when I walk around and see so many people texting, Facebooking, Instagram, and Snapchatting, but guess what they're not doing? Doing all that Facebook and texting and Instagram and all that stuff, but not one post, one picture, not one word about the products or what they offer at their store is going up there. And these are the same people that will stand around either in a back office somewhere on the lot talking about how their resume is still online, they can't stand it, and they wish they'd have never done it. While there's somebody else in there that is making over $10,000 a month, putting kids through college, paying house notes, car notes, living a good life, traveling and whatnot, that looked at it differently. Some people look at it as a job. JOB stands for just over broke. But when you look at selling as a career, you begin to change, you begin to evolve, you begin to just to grow. At the end of the day, when people say, well, I got 5 years of sales experience, or they miss out on what really separates the haves from the have-nots. They fail to realize that no matter what, when I was born, you were born, our parents, our grandparents, every human being that's been on this planet is born into sales. And every intelligent person I've shared this with picked up on what I was saying. When a baby cries, is trying to be picked up, he failed to have a diaper change. That's a sales call. Any person that you're in a relationship with that you found attractive, you weren't the only one that thought they were attractive. You were one of many willing takers, but yet you presented yourself and you sold yourself in a way that this person said, yeah, I want to be with them. I'd like to marry them. I'd like to start a family with them. Any place of business that you've ever been employed, you were not the only candidate. You were one of hundreds, if not thousands of people that applied, but yet you presented and sold yourself in a way that they felt they got the highest rate of return on their investment by hiring you. And now here's the real kicker. Even sitting down in a room doing nothing, you have sold yourself that it's better to sit there and do nothing than it is to get out and be productive and to get things done. And so it's something that we just can't escape. If you want to go to Taco Bell and the person says, if somebody wants to go to Taco Bell, you say, hey, let's go to Chipotle, they're a lot better. That's a sale. Somebody wants to go see this movie and you suggest another one and they decide to go with what that is a sale. And so when we don't realize that this is what we are, this is what we do, if we don't realize that every time we open our mouth, unless we want people to believe that we're a liar, we're always selling a point of view, a perspective, an emotion, or always. When you go home every day, you're selling to that person you're in a relationship with that it's worth both of you all coming home and being in this another day. When you're talking to your kids, you're selling them on why they should listen to your advice and trust what it is you're teaching them. When you're going into your place of business, you are selling them your time and your ability and your skills to help them get something accomplished. We can't escape it. Okay? So the first thing is you got to realize that you're in it. Now the question is, are you going to be in it to win it? And if you're in it to win it, it's about honing your ability to be able to communicate, to be able to listen, to be able to be a solution provider. And it don't matter, this is bigger than just talking about any particular automotive sales or anything like that. When you live your life this way, everything around you grows, everything around you evolves. Not just the money, your relationships, your self-respect, your self-esteem. And you're welcomed in far more circles. Why? Because you're always a benefit to other people. Okay? So please just, keep that in mind. You got to be willing to do what others aren't willing to do. When people look at me and they say, oh, Brian, you used to be at the dealership. Now you travel all around the country. You speak here, you speak there, you train here, you train there. You're getting all of these results. How did you do it? Because I was willing and am still willing to do what other people aren't willing to do. I'm willing to wake up in the morning. I'm willing to study, and read books. I'm willing to train myself. I'm willing to go listen to other people who have skills and far more experience than I do to learn. Isaac Newton said it best. It said, if I see further than others, it's because I've stood on the shoulders of giants. And I believe in that. And there's another quote that says, only a fool will learn from their own experiences. A wise person will learn from the experience of others. And once I realized that when I was just trying to create the wheel without any type of education on anything whatsoever, I was bumping my head. But when I learned how to look at other people who have come before me, listen to what they did and what worked for them, listen to what they did that did not work for them, take it, internalize it, personalize it, and then utilize it. And that's what happened. And once I did that, things took off. So instead of working just hard, which working hard is not the key to just success. It's not. I know a lot of people that have jobs that they work hard every day and come home physically beat up every day and aren't making much money. Then I know people who come home every day physically perfectly fine without any type of soreness, nothing whatsoever, and they make 10 times more money than that person who is working hard because they're working smart and hard. So I don't just say work smart and not hard. No, you have to work smart and hard. But when you do hard work in a smart way, the results come back a lot quicker and a lot bigger. Okay? So you got to make sure, you got to be willing to do what others learn to do. The fact that you're sitting here watching this video, this training session, shows that you're willing to do what others aren't willing to do. And I'll tell you, most people who are going to struggle to make money and fail would have clicked off by now. They'll leave. They'll say, oh, man, I was supposed to learn how to be a millionaire in the first 30 seconds. That's not what it's about. There is no such thing as overnight success. It's just not. So the fact that you're here, the fact you're still watching it, and you're going to watch it until the very end when it cuts off, says a lot about you, which is exactly why you're going to benefit. You're going to win. And the opportunities that are opening up for you are far greater than anyone else who quit on themselves by clicking out before they even got to hear what could actually help them make money. We're actually going over the mental aspects, some things that you probably relate with. I'm sure I touched on one or two things that you say, yep, I totally felt that way, or I might have seen it that way. Say my first rodeo, been doing this, for a long time. All right. You also want to make sure you're self-motivated. Now, is it great to get a pat on the back and somebody telling you done good? That's all good. And everybody likes to be complimented. But at the end of the day, you have to learn how to do what's right because it's right, because that's just who you are. The character of a person is not what they do when people are around, it's what they do when they're by themselves. So yeah, it's cool to, look like you're working hard and doing this, that, and the other when the managers are around or when other people are around, But when you by yourself, what are you really doing to make yourself better? What are you really doing to build your value? What are you really adding to yourself to increase the opportunities that you currently have now? You got to be self-motivated. Now, that is something that is built up over time. You know, you don't just go from being somebody that's just kind of, you know, got a routine going by the way, and then all of a sudden you just become this super driven person. No, it's baby steps. But it's about making the mental decision and then every day saying, okay, for at least 5 minutes, I'm going to read, watch, or listen something that's going to help me be more positive, help me be healthier, help me sell better, you know, whatever it is, but just everyday commitment. And you'll see that 5 minutes will go to 10, we'll go to 30, we'll go to an hour, because you're starting to realize, man, I just invested 5 minutes. I feel better. And by me feeling better, I perform better. If I got that just out of 5, what'll happen if I get 10? Get 10 minutes on there. Okay. So you got to be self-motivated. You got to be willing to stick with it. You have to be willing to do what others aren't willing to do just to be able to make it. Now, the reason why, let's just say, you know, getting past all of that stuff, you start doing all of that. The reason why most sales fall apart, they fall apart at the very beginning. You know, bottom line, most salespeople aren't even focused when they go on to approach a person. You know, they're thinking about the last person they spoke to, or, you know, whatever happened on the game last night, TV show, or what the buddy was just talking about. Do you know how many times when I was starting out, and I still see people do this now, I would literally get upset if I had to go help a customer if we was having a real good conversation, either in the dealership or standing outside. How stupid was I? I would get pissed like, damn, man, one of y'all want to go deal with that? Why? Because I'd rather stay here and talk crap with the other guys that aren't making any money. It was what I call sales suicide. And I was just guilty of it. I lacked focus. Or should I say, I didn't lack focus. I had focus, but it was inwardly focused. I cared about me, what I wanted to do, but yet at the same time, I wanted to make money and I wanted to be treated as a big dog, but was performing like a puppy. And even when I approached the customer, my whole thing was, man, let me see if I can close them down and make some money. Inwardly focused. Little did I realize that by being inwardly focused, it would actually minimize the amount of money I would make, minimize the amount of sales I would get, and would minimize me feeling good about anything because everything else was so crappy. When I learned how to, instead of being inwardly focused, let me be outwardly focused. At the end of the day, these people hire me, they're paying me, they're giving me opportunity. I don't have to pay for this building, the lights, the leads, nothing. The least I could do is give maximum effort on their investment. And when dealing with a customer, the least I could do is give this person my full undivided attention and see what I can do to help them. You know, once I turned that around where it wasn't just about Brian and it was about my customer, things took off. How many times have you been upset because you said, man, I don't even feel like going out there talking to this person? How many times have you literally looked away and acted like you didn't see somebody that either came in or was on the lot strictly because you was on the phone texting or watching a video of some kind? Listen, been there, done that. And if you have, it's all good. The good news is there is an upside to it and you can change it. You can change everything about it. You can, you know, fix all of that. That's the good news about it. Another reason why the sales fall apart, and we touched on it a little bit earlier, lack of process. I hear everybody talk about this road to the sale, 10 steps to the sale, yada, yada, yada. Man, that crap has gotten so cliche and just so normalized in different dealerships around the country that people say, oh, road to the sale. It's just like a key phrase. But does anybody really know what the road to the sale is? Does anybody really have a process? Because when stores bring me in, dealerships bring me in, the first thing I like to do is evaluate when I'm coming in to train. So when I'm interacting with each sales rep, you know, one thing I realize is that if there's 10 sales reps, there's 10 different people doing things 10 different ways. There's no uniformity. Or should I say there's lack of a, I'm not going to say lack of a process. The store may have one, but just nobody uses it. Why? Because in most cases, it's not enforced. Why? Because when they get out there on the lot, there's nobody standing with them. Nobody knows what they said. Or when they're sitting with their customers, you know how you lower your voice so nobody can hear what you're saying, yada, yada, yada. Lack of process. One guy that I watched a video on recently, he works for Nissan. He sells like 120 cars every 90 days. And he was doing a video on what made him so successful. And man, I was expecting to see this sharp dress, silver tongue, you know, handsome dude that was just knocking it down. He was an older gentleman, hair was long and kind of shaggy, overweight, not very energetic, you know, nothing impressive at all. And I was amazed. And when they asked him how was he able to do this consistently every single quarter, he said he never deviates from his process. And one thing I'm going to share with you is what I call the triple P's. No matter if they're 18 or 80, male, female, doesn't matter. The only three things that should change, triple P's, is the person's name, the product that they may be interested in, and the price of it. But everything else you do should be exactly the same, because you can't track what you can't measure. And if you're doing different things, what if you did something that worked? What if you did something that didn't work? Well, how would you even know? Because it changes up every time. So when people say, again, oh, I don't want to use a script, of course, nobody wants anybody to sound like a robot. That's not the purpose of it. The purpose is for you to have something to reference, to repeat it, to where you have it so naturally ingrained in your mind that when you speak it and you personalized it, it's natural. And when it's natural, people is believable. And when it's believable, people trust you. And when people trust you, they're more likely to open up and be willing to tell you what's really going on and make it easier for you to help them make that smart, safe buying decision and do business with you at your store. Okay? So please make sure that if your dealership does not have a process, okay, that you at least are taking notes with everything that we're going over and we're going to be going over, so that this will help you somewhat create one, that you'll at least have a roadmap. Think about when a person goes out of town, they don't just jump in the car and say, I'm going to California. What do? They go to Google Maps or they pull out a map and they look at what route, what's the best route, what's the fastest and the most effective route to get them to their destination. This is the exact same thing. It's the exact same thing. So just make sure you keep the main thing the main thing. Have a process. Hell, even baking a cake, you need flour, milk, sugar, maybe some butter or oil. But if I took 50 eggs, 30 pounds of flour, 10 gallons of milk, 8 pounds of sugar, and mixed it all together, you know, we make some crap. But if I took 3 eggs, maybe a cup and a half of milk, maybe 2 cups of sugar, maybe 2 cups of flour, mix it together, now, you know what I'm saying, I have a better chance of making a good tasting cake. The same exact ingredients, but I just learned how to apply the proper measurements at the right time. That's all this is, okay? That's all this is. So, you know, one of the ways that salespeople like to make things hard on themselves, a lot of times they have what I call diarrhea of mouth. They say the wrong thing at the wrong time, which either offends the customer or triggers that thought in their mind of, oh, this is another one of those sleazy salespeople, because they can feel that all you focused on is the commission. All you focused on is making money, okay? Rather than what they're looking for. Another thing is your attire. When people go into work, man, no matter if you only have one shirt and one pair of pants, make sure it's clean. Make sure it's pressed. Make sure you stay groomed. Now, I apologize because I am not as clean shaven as I usually am. Been on the road out of the last, 8 weeks, 6 or 7 weeks out of the last 8, I've been training all over the country. So I apologize. But when I'm going out and I'm only be engaging and interacting with people, I always want to make sure I'm well groomed. I want to present my product, which is myself, in the best light. You are the CEO of the best business you'll ever own, and that's you. And how people view your business, your product, is how you present it to them. So make sure you at least look like you can afford the vehicles that you are helping people buy on your lot. Nothing looks crazier when somebody that doesn't look like they can afford a pack of gum is trying to educate somebody on why they should be willing to accept this payment that's $200 more than where they want it to be. But they don't even look like they can afford if it was only $200. You know, that's why so many people, why they struggle so hard. So make sure that you're outwardly focused on how you look, how you sound to people. You know, what type of presentation, and when I say I'm talking about personal presentation, are you giving when they initially meet you? Because you only get one time to make a first impression, okay? And so you want to make sure you take advantage of that. And also, well, is price important? Yes, but too many salespeople think it's all about price. Price will always be on the table, but when you build value in a product, when the customer experience is positive, when value and the experience, are high, price becomes just a little bit less relevant. It'll always be there. But if you go in believing it's all about price, guess what? That's where you're going to focus it. And as the sales consultant, knowing, the sales professional, knowing that, yes, price is always going to be on the table. Why would we want to make it about price when we know when a customer or a prospect has to choose between, making a decision and all processes are equal, which means they suck. The only way they know how to do it is off the cheapest price. And when it's the cheapest price in the business that we're in, you lose. Yeah, it moved the unit, but you didn't get any real return from it. Okay? So learn how to build value. Learn how to be focused on making sure that if this person had to buy a vehicle and had to stop at a dealership, that they are thankful that it was yours and they're grateful that it was with you, because they had the most enjoyable time buying a vehicle they've ever thought they could have in their life. And that's possible. It may seem like some over the top, over the rainbow, but it's real. When people buy and sign that agreement on first pencil, and then the person sitting next to them is helping somebody else on the same exact type of vehicle, but yet they had got to discount it 4 or 5 grand, is because the person whose customers signed the agreement on first pencil, they saw and felt that the value far exceeded what was being asked for it. The other people who had them drop 4 or 5 grand, they felt like it wasn't worth what they were asking for it. And so when you make it all about them and the value you build in the product, the experience you give them with you and at your store, watch what happens. Everything turns around. But we're going to learn how you can do that. You know what I mean? Because there's some steps that you can take that we're going to go over here real quick. And I'm going to be as brief as I possibly can. Number one, make sure you're prepared. Okay, let's talk about the greeting. All right. You know the most typical common things that happen when you go out to greet somebody. And I've said this in other videos, but most people say, can I help you and how you doing? Can I help you is the silliest question ever been brought into retail. You were hired by that business or by that dealership to help their customers that come on that lot or come into the store. So to ask a stranger, a guest, hey, can I do for you what they hired me to do is insane. And we know the most common response is, no, I'm just looking. That's crazy. And a lot of salespeople will call that an objection. That's not an objection. That's a stall. Because they know most salespeople are so weak and have no idea what to, how to combat that, that they immediately say, okay, well, when you're ready, you find what you're looking for, I'll be over here. Now, think about how stupid that is to have a guest come onto your lot, giving you an opportunity to engage with them, and then you're going to make them work to come find you for you to get their business? Insane. But it all started off with horrible questioning. And the reason why people have such a negative perception of automotive salespeople being so pushy is because you go out and say, can I help you? They say, no, I'm just looking. Then you got to stalk them around the whole lot and everywhere they go, because management said, hey, when you talk to somebody, make sure you introduce them to us. All right. And we created the issue ourselves. When at the end of the day, the most important thing you should do when somebody shows up to your lot is welcome them. Give them your name. Do you know how many times, really think about this, go through your own mind. Do you know how many times a salesperson will run up on the guest, start asking them about credit, what they want, how much they want to put down? They have never even introduced themselves, never even got the other person's name. And you may not believe this as noticeable as it is, but we do a lot of secret shopper exercises all around the country. And the main thing we get is, man, they asked me about my credit, my money, all of that, and I never even got the person's name. And those things are private and personal. We haven't even earned the right to even discuss that stuff yet. And we haven't even given them our name. So number one, what is your greeting? Are you welcoming people to the lot? Or are you asking them, can you help them? Can you do what your employer asked you to do? Make sure that you are prepared for some of the most common and typical responses. Now think about this. When a person says to you, yeah, I don't really have a lot of time, I was just stopping by. The average salesperson will say, oh, okay, cool. Well, when you guys are ready, I'll be here. Stop in and just ask for John. That is insane, as opposed to being prepared. Now think about it. If somebody is on your lot looking at vehicles, obviously they're not there by mistake. Okay, they had to make rights, lefts, get on the expressway. A lot of things had to happen for them to show up there. Okay, and if they really didn't have that much time, who knows they're running short on time and just going to stop at the dealership for a quick second. That is, again, another stall. But if you are unprepared, that when they say that to you, of being able to say, excellent, I totally understand it. And the fact that you don't have a lot of time means that I can really help you. Why don't we do this? Follow me inside. I'll ask you a few questions, as opposed to us walking up and down, looking car by car and wasting your time. We go inside. I'll ask you a few questions. I'll pull up exactly what we have, and you tell me about what you feel you want information on. Let's go. But you have to be prepared. You have to expect that they may say that, okay? You have to say, or when they walk up and they just say, hey, well, how many times you walk up to go greet somebody and say, well, what's the price on this? And again, most salespeople, diarrhea of the mouth. Oh yeah, this one is 28.5. But we may be able to, discount it for you. Already making it about price, already giving themselves a pay cut from the beginning. As opposed to saying, you know what, that's a excuse me, that's a really good question. Why don't we do this? Follow me inside. I'm gonna ask you a couple questions, and then I'll let you know not just what the price is, but what the best option is gonna be for you on this particular vehicle. Follow me. What's the person gonna say? F that. I'm not gonna come in there so you can try to tell me what the best option is for me. No. But it also kept me from spewing out just a number. Hey, listen, that's what it is, but hey, let me ask you some questions and let me see what I can do to get you the best option we have on this particular vehicle. But you have to be prepared, okay? And hopefully you're writing this stuff down, because if you believe you're just going to listen to it and it's going to stick, it won't. As a matter of fact, everything you'll hear right now, by tomorrow, 50% of it will be gone. The next day, it'll be only 25% of it left. And within a week or so, you'll be right back doing things the way you were. The brain loves routine, works off habit. So make sure you write notes. Make sure you're jotting this stuff down. Make sure you are listening with the intent to understand, okay? And it's a whole process, so make sure that you really think about it. But you want to be prepared when you're going out there to greet somebody. And the objective is not just to be out there talking with them about price, and it is ignorant to bounce car to car with a customer when you go out there to first initially greet them anyway. I saw this happen recently by a guy that was in the business. He said 30 years. Guest comes up, he goes out there, horribly greets him, introduces himself to the customer. The customer wanted to look at a Hellcat. The man walks him right over, starts bouncing him car to car, goes inside, get the keys, leaves the person outside, which again is insane. Never built any rapport, don't know anything what's going on, never got him inside, goes out there, tries to start up the Hellcat. Guess what? The battery was dead. But not only was the battery dead, it had no gas in it. Now, if a person already has anxiety about dealing with somebody in this business, and then what they were looking at has no gas, and the battery won't even start, what do you think that's going to do to their confidence, not only in the product, but in you? It's like, man, this is your stuff. You didn't even know that the battery was dead. You didn't know that this vehicle had no gas in it. Why? Because the salesperson was in such a rush that they didn't set the stage. Now, if they'd have brought the person inside, found out what's going on, and identified that's what it was, would have got the keys so they could pull the vehicle around to show it to them, they would have realized that it didn't have gas in it. They would have realized that the battery was out, and guess what? The customer never would have known, because they'd have been sitting inside waiting for them to pull it up so they could take them out and present it. You're an actor. You got to set the stage. You have to do this stuff the right way, okay? Now, when you get somebody inside, my suggestion is to be a human being, not a freaking robot. Salespeople get a customer in, and all they are talking about is that piece of plastic metal. What color you want? What's this, that, what type of payment? And the customer feels like they're being interrogated. The only thing missing is the spotlight shining directly in their face. The objective when you sit somebody down, because in most cases, man, these people know more about the vehicle than you anyway. They've been researching it for days, weeks, months. They've only been focused on that one or two vehicle options where you have an entire fleet to be somewhat knowledgeable about. So when it comes to that inanimate object, that piece of plastic or metal, that no matter what brand you promote, if we went state to state and stopped at every dealership that is the same brand as yours, what you'd find is every one of those makes and models is at their dealership, is at the other dealership. None of them fly, none of them take you back in time or into the future. So what is it that dictates where a person decides to buy it from? It's you, it's us. That's what it's all about. And we have to always remember that. So when you get somebody and you sitting them down, when you get them in, you greet them and you bring them inside and you sit them down, who are they? What are their goals? What are their concerns? What is it that they are hoping to accomplish, and for who and for what? The better you understand that, when you do go to present an option to them, you can tailor it and customize it to where the points that you bring up will be relevant to the goals or to the concerns that they may have had or they may have. But if you don't sit down and you don't identify who they are, more than just their name, if they have kids, what's their kids' names? What's the ages? If they're in a relationship, who is their spouse or partner? What's their name? Where are they? Do they know what they're doing? How well do they trust their judgment or opinion or recommendations? What is it that they're hoping to use it for? It's for business or for personal? It's learning how to use what's called layer questions. And what a layer question is one where when you ask it, they respond, you can ask another one on it. Remember this phrase, please. Good salespeople practice what to say. The great ones practice what to ask. When I see salespeople doing most of the talking and the guests doing this much talking, I already know that that's no deal. And even if it is, it's going to be stripped down to nothing. Because how can you help somebody if you don't even know what it takes to help them? And the only way you can know what it takes to help them is by asking them the right questions. So make sure when you're sitting down and qualifying that you are learning what their concerns are, what their objectives, what their goals are. Who are they? People buy from those who they like and they trust. Okay? And when people get a chance to talk about themselves, the more a person shares about themselves with you, the more comfortable they feel with you. Notice I didn't say the more you talk about yourself to them, they feel comfortable with you. As a matter of fact, the more you talk about yourself to them, the less comfortable they feel. But the more you allow them to talk to you about themselves, the more comfortable they'll feel. Please, please keep that in mind. Now let's talk about when it's time to present. This is really where a lot of people just cost themselves thousands of dollars a day when it goes out to the presentation. Do you know something recently? I saw a person at a dealership. You know, I do all this type of recognizance type stuff, checking things out. I saw a sales rep on their phone texting while the customer was literally just walking around the vehicle by themselves. And they standing back or they walk out, the hood's not popped. They never get on the inside. They don't do a complete walk around. They don't point out any specific features, what the benefits of it are, and how would it help them accomplish whatever it is they were trying to get accomplished, or addresses whatever concern they may have had. Then when they go back inside, they wonder why the person is fighting them over the price, because no matter what you're asking for, they don't feel it's worth that. How do they feel it's worth that? It's by us. And the better we are at identifying who they are, what they're looking for, and what it is that they want, when it's time for us to present a specific feature, when we talk about what the feature is, what life is like without it, and how having it is beneficial. If we fail to do that, they will never see the value in it. And it doesn't matter if it's a turn signal on a side mirror. It doesn't matter if it's LED lights and the plastic cover. It doesn't matter if you believe this person may already know what it is. They've never seen it from you, ever. And as a matter of fact, you're doing them a disservice and yourself by not taking the opportunity to present it to them. What that feature is, what could happen if it wasn't there, and how having it is beneficial. You want to make sure you address that. Okay, and when you think about it, certain vehicle make and models, you know, the trim levels are so similar that once you get it down, with the exception of a few additional features, you're good to go. And you just want to be able to touch on 1 to 3 things on the different areas of the car. You got the hood, you got the driver's side, you got the trunk, you got the passenger side, you got the interior, you got the sticker that you need to show. And so you just want to make sure that you learn how to point out 1 to 3 things on these particular things. Now, is product knowledge important? Yes, it's valuable. It really will help. But people knowledge is far more important, because you can know everything about the vehicle. And every dealership has somebody that knows everything about it from the front end to the rear end. Walking encyclopedia on that particular brand. But can't help somebody buy one to say they like. Because while they talking all that technical big word jargon, the person sitting there saying, I'm going to get the hell out of here so I can go deal with somebody that talks in a way that I can understand. So it's not impressive, you know, but make sure when you go out to present, this is your opportunity. Like, you're excited, like, man, based on what y'all told me, here's what we got. Now let me tell you how this will help you do this, and how this will help you and whatever your spouse's name or whatever your kids are, be able to do this. When you travel to go there, you know, be able to have the TV so the kids can, one want to watch, you know, SpongeBob, and if the other one wants to watch Bugs Bunny, whatever it is, but you are customizing and tailoring your presentation for this specific person, but based on their goals and their concern. But if you don't know what those are, how can you ever address those? And if you fail to address those, trust me, it will cost you money. And if you aren't addressing them, it already is costing you money. I guarantee you that. Now, let's think about what happens when we actually do get them in the car and we go on a ride. Most folks are so uncomfortable sitting in that vehicle with somebody, and you know what I'm talking about. If you in this game and you've been doing this, whether you've been in it for years or you just started, you know, especially when you first start, it is so uncomfortable being in the vehicle with this guest while y'all on the demo drive, because most people don't know what to say. But it's not about knowing what to say, it's about knowing what to ask, the right things to ask this individual. And most salespeople do things and they say stuff like, can you see yourself owning this and see your driveway, which again is crazy. because those are so old and played out. They know what it is you're doing. Do you realize that if you go to YouTube and you type in how to avoid being ripped off buying a car, you see the thousands of videos that come up? Thousands. Written by other people, customers, not even people from the business, customers that are trying to help the other person out and really don't know they're making it that much harder for them. But if you're going to ask a question that stimulates them emotionally and makes it to where if they respond to you, they're already assuming ownership. Something simple like, hey, which one of your friends or family members would be the first person you show your new ride to? Now think about that. In order for you to tell me my mom or my spouse or my kids, you've already assumed ownership. You've already visualized it and you see it. Or if they travel, hey, listen, what's the first vacation spot you and your family gonna go to in your new vehicle? What's the first place you're gonna take your wife out or your husband or your partner out to dinner at for a night on the town in your new ride? You know, it's these types of things to get them engaging. And guess what? As opposed to saying, you see yourself owning this, that, which is inwardly focused, my focus is on their enjoyment. They're being recognized, how they want to handle it. And again, when you make it all about them, it increases the likelihood of you being able to help that person and really being able to, you know, earn their trust, and not just their trust, their business, their business too. Now, when people come back off the demo drive, when a salesperson says, all right, well, let's go back in here and check the numbers out. Or let's go in here and see if we can make the numbers work. Or if the numbers work, is this something you want to take home today? Listen, when are the numbers ever going to work? Never. Nobody wants, man, if they could have it for free, they would take it for free. Okay? So, but again, the purpose of the demo drive is to build value and the experience, have them love it. Have them hear the features and the benefits, ride in it, fall in love with it, that emotional connection. And then when a sales rep brings up numbers, guess what you've just done? You've just redirected their focus right back to the place that we worked so hard to take it from. Price is always going to be important, but it's our responsibility to build value and a positive experience, okay? The price is what it is. But why, as a salesperson, knowing that when it's all about price, you lose, would you redirect that customer's mind back to price? No. When you pull them back up in that vehicle, you want to have them park as close as they possibly can to their older vehicle. Why? I want them getting out looking at that. I'm not worried about them leaving if I've done what I'm supposed to do and I've built value the right way. Okay? Yeah, I want them to get out saying, whoo, look forward to getting rid of that. Or man, these two gonna look good together, whatever it is. You know, and then when we go back inside, guess where we're going? Most salespeople think we're going in to talk numbers. We're not. What you do, what I train thousands of salespeople to do that works. I get emails and texts all the time that tell me this additional step here has helped them close far more deals and make more money. If you hold the door open for your customer, they will walk in and start beelining it right back to the area where y'all were talking initially. You know why? Because everybody's been trained that after that demo drive, it's time to go in and talk about the numbers. So their defensive wall goes up 10 feet tall. It's 3 foot wide. They're ready to go do battle with you. All the laughing and kikiing y'all did beforehand, now it's like a fight, okay? By them thinking that that's what's going to happen, you want to utilize what is called a pattern interrupt. And all that means is that you deviate from the norm, what people typically would expect. And so when you open that door for them, you see them walking that way, to be able to say, hey, listen, folks, why don't we step on over here with me? I'm going to show you all the service department. All right, this is where you bring your vehicle when it's time for you to get it serviced. And then you tell them about the Wi-Fi. You tell them about the shuttle. You tell them about the 24-hour key drop. You tell them about whatever rental, whatever it is that your service department does. You introduce them to an advisor or to the service manager. Hey, listen, this is Katie, one of our service advisors. She'll be one of the people that'll be helping you out when you bring your vehicle in. And I'm going to introduce them. Katie's going to shake their hand. They're going to smile. Da-da-da. You know why I'm doing that? Number one, because I know nobody else is willing to do it. Number two, it's all about them. I have no idea if they're treated with respect or what level of adulation they're given in their personal lives. But when they're in there with me, I want to make, whether you're a minimum wage worker or wherever it is, or if you're a Fortune 500 CEO, I want to make everybody feel like they're important to me and they're special. Now, when they're shaking hands and being treated that way, another thing that it helps with is that defensive wall was 10 feet tall. Guess what? By doing that, it will decrease it. Now, might only decrease it to 9 feet. That's fine. At least we got it down some. The wall may still be wide, but as opposed to 3 feet, we got it down to 2. Our purposes of giving them a positive experience is that so they can lower that defensive wall down enough so we can just peek over in their backyard and see what it's going to take to help them make that smart, safe buying decision. Sales isn't about persuading. It's about identifying the amplitude of the need and then helping people achieve and accomplish whatever goals or address whatever concerns they're having that brought them in the first place. Okay, so when you take them on that service tour, it helps you. You ever been pissed off at somebody and they make you laugh? You ever notice how hard it is to get back mad at them to that same level? It's almost impossible. This is the same way. Okay, we may vary externally, but on the inside, we're more similar than we are different. So utilize the service tour. That's huge. Now, after you've done the service tour, make sure you introduce them to somebody. Make sure you let them know what you're going to be doing. Hey, when you see me bring people back there, do me a favor, man. Just shake their hand, show them some love, yada, yada, because it helps everybody there. They'll be down with it. Trust. Matter of fact, I had a couple service directors say, man, you know, I'm so glad that you're teaching this because these guys never bring anybody back. They try to give a tour of service after they've already sold the vehicle and discounted it beyond belief and made them any. Doesn't make sense. Work smart and hard, okay? Now, when you go back and you sit down to discuss the numbers, this is where people get totally terrified. They don't know what to say. Realize this. Think about it. If you've been doing this, you know there's only a few objections that even come up, okay? There's only a few of them. And be honest with you, the fact of the matter is, if by knowing that there's only a few that come up, you're not prepared for them, I mean, really, you know, whose fault is that? Really, really think about it, whose fault is that? That's our fault, okay, if you think about it. So when you're going through presenting numbers, number one, that old school tactic of where people just go, you know, going over this, that, and the other, you know, if they put down 1,000 or 1,500, whatever, the payment options, and then, hey, listen, tax tag and title, and they skip over about 12 line items that this person is looking at. And they believe that this person is ignorant to the point to where just because you're going to move your hand past it, I'm not going to pay attention to this 2,000-3,000 I see over here, this $699 I see here on the doc fee, this, that. Like, I'm not going to pay attention to that. The immediate moment you try to play on my intelligence with that, my trust for you just went out the window. You didn't respect me, now I don't respect you. Okay? And when they begin asking questions, a lot of salespeople don't even know how to explain what the items are on their sheet, on their worksheet. Make sure that the line items that are on your worksheet, regardless if your store teaches you not to talk about them, at least know. So that way, if the question comes up, you can confidently answer them. It's like the doc fee. I've heard everything. It's pure profit. It pays for the owner's jet, paid for blah, 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 a whole bunch of bull crap that as a customer, I'm saying, I can give a crap less if everybody pays that. I don't care about what the owner has. He got enough money. It doesn't make sense. But do you realize that what a doc fee actually is? It is just the cost associated with the inspection, the certification, and the registration of the vehicle. Period. And that makes sense. And it's not something I just got out of the sky. I literally read the manufacturer's documentation that they have from brand to brand, and it's across the board the same. And it is true that whatever doc fee a dealership charges, everybody has to pay it. But think about it as an individual. You know, everybody got to pay taxes. Does that mean you like it? You want to pay it? No. Okay? No. So the way you motivate somebody to pay taxes, not saying, well, everybody does it. No, it's not. It's not about everybody. You have to make it unique to that person. And really all it takes is a logical explanation. Hey, listen, if you don't do it, you can risk going to jail. Okay, I'll pay the taxes. You know, but here's what, you know, just being funny for a second, but what the doc fee is. Oh, the doc fee, good question. What that is, just the cost associated with the inspection, registration, and certification of your vehicle. And then move on. You've addressed their question in a logical way. And they say, okay, I can deal with that. It makes sense. But you have to be prepared with certain objections. It's kind of like knowing how often do you talk to somebody and they got to go home and they got to talk to their spouse, you know, and they say, well, I want to talk to my spouse. And we start saying stuff. Well, I've seen guys and ladies say stuff like, well, what? You can't make this decision on your own and blah, blah, blah. You think somebody that's been with somebody for years is going to give a crap about what you feel they should do? No, they don't. Matter of fact, you're insulting this person. Okay, so you want to make sure you know the right things to say. I'm gonna give you an example of that. If somebody say, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna go talk to my spouse," you say, "Well, based on what you know about them, you know, what do you think their timeline is for making a decision on something like this or moving forward, you know, on getting a vehicle?" And you know, asking them, they know them the best. Based on what you know about them, what do you feel their timeline is would be on you all making a decision? You know, and then you might even ask them, share with me just a little bit about the process that you all typically go through when you're making a decision on this. You know, what is it? But it's being prepared of when they do say it, not being rattled, not being offensive, not being and saying something that'll piss the person off. Learn how to ask another question. Okay, learn how to utilize the any word tracks that are available to you. And if you don't have any word tracks, make sure that you're jotting down the ones that you're hearing me go through right now today. At the end of the day, you have to just be prepared. Being prepared is what generates the confidence, and what generates the confidence is being prepared. How do you get prepared? Having the right wording, going over it, learning it, internalize it. It's like if somebody say they want to think about it. You might be like, okay, Bill, obviously there's something that either doesn't make sense to you, or you need to check something out or learn a little bit more first. And I'm not really sure which one it is, but I know that this seems like something that you want to do. So what is it that you would need to make you feel comfortable moving forward on this? But if you don't know what to say, how can you say it? I mean, and there's word tracks after word tracks I have on this. I have one that lays out 18 ways to talk about, I need to think about it. I've got one that lays out how to overcome, want to talk to a spouse. I got one that has many ways to handle, it's too expensive or the price is too high, or we're going to stick with it. There are ways to handle the very few, and it's not like there's a whole lot of objections. If you really think about it, there's only maybe about 4 or 5 that are really common. And if you're prepared for them, guess what? You'll be confident. The more confident you are because you're prepared, you can focus more on listening to them and what's going on and being better prepared to help them. But more than anything else, knowing how when you present those numbers, being prepared for whatever objections. You should know that the price objection may come up. You should know that the spouse objection may come up. You should know that they're going to say they want to think about it. Those are all possibilities. And so when you're prepared, matter of fact, you're looking forward to them because you already know. But when you don't know what to say, many times we say the wrong thing that either offends somebody or just destroys what we already got working on, and we hurt ourselves. Stop doing that. And then lastly, you presented the numbers. They like it. They're happy. But they go in there with the business manager and it falls apart. Or they walk out and the business manager is pissed because they didn't make any money. You know what happened? Or you go in there with one price and you learn that the business manager had to discount the price, cut into your commissions, and you didn't find out until you got your washout sheet. We do this to ourselves as salespeople. The better set the stage is prior to them going in with the business manager. People still call them F&I. Nobody outside the business knows what that is. Finance manager, that's not a very positive term. The business manager, but when we set the stage, and when I say set the stage, yeah, we've shown them the vehicle and whatnot, but do we really know what goes with it? And when I mean that, talking about the basic coverages, regardless, if it's a new vehicle or if it's a CPO, certified pre-owned, if it comes with that 3-year, 36,000-mile basic limited warranty, share that with them. Not 3-year, 36 bumper to bumper. Number one, that's a lie because the bumpers aren't covered. And if you ask most salespeople, what does that mean and what does that cover, they couldn't tell you. They couldn't tell you. So if they don't know, how do we expect the customer to really know the value in that? But if you're going to say, hey, listen, the good news for you is you get a 3-year, 36,000-mile basic limited warranty. And here's what that means. That means that everything made by the manufacturer, with the exception of the tires and the brakes, are covered for the next 3 years of 36,000 miles. So if your radio stops working, the power locks, your power seats, your nav screen, anything goes out, you call me, you text me, you email me, I'm going to have you bring the vehicle in and we'll get it taken care of for you. But it also, when it comes to the tire, to the brakes and whatnot, another good thing about you is that for the next year or 12,000 miles, if anything, you have any issues with your brakes, call me, text me, email me, and I'm going to get it taken care of for you. Now, what sounds better, that description or 3-year, 36,000-mile bumper to bumper? Okay, think about it. It's not what we say, but how we say it. Okay, but the better we educate them on what comes with it, it also justifies the current asking price. Now, the way you really take that all home, where when you cover what the powertrain warranty means, whatever Sirius radio they get, whatever it is, free oil changes, tire rotation, whatever it is, and you let them know, hey, listen. And if you're like most of my customers that see the value in this, you'll have the opportunity to extend those when you're going with the business manager. The opportunity, it's an opportunity to extend those. If you're smart, if you're like most of my other customers that see the value in it, you have the opportunity to extend those when you're going with the business manager. So guess what I've done? I've educated them, planted the seed, in their mind where they know, okay, the business manager is going to offer them some extensions, and they know what they're getting an extension of. It just increases the likelihood of everything going smoothly. Okay. And then lastly, everything goes good when they're with the business manager. It's time to deliver the vehicle. Make sure the phones are paired up. Make sure you go over the owner's manual with this person. Make sure you do a spot check. You're just looking around and make sure there's no scratches, no dents, no issues whatsoever. And then you deliver that vehicle, and you make sure you follow up with that person and you stay in contact with the person. Easiest way to do is use Google Calendar. Once you make a sale, go to your calendar or use your system, your CRM system at the dealership, put it in. You know, put that information in on this date and set a reminder for once every 3 months or every 6 months or every year. You know, you can create multiple reminders for you to be able to constantly reach out on their 1-year anniversary day. Or, you know that the child is graduating and you reach out to them. You'd be amazed at how many deals I've closed in the past and that I still do now, strictly based off staying at the forefront of someone's mind. Why? Because they're at the forefront of mine. Okay. Now, you know, these things that we talked about, it's a lot. It's kind of a lot to dig in and kind of deal with and whatnot. But we just scratching the surface, to be honest with you. Okay. Again, this is one of the parts where people that are going to continue to struggle and fail to make money are going to click off. But the fact that you're still here, those of you that are still here, one of the things I just want to educate you on is that the game is easy when you know how to play it and play it the right way. Okay. Everything we covered is something that you can do, especially if you have the roadmap laid out for you. Now, here's what you have available right now, okay? Right now, what I've created is the entire Dominate at the Dealership complete online training program that you can download immediately. It has the audio programs that go over every step in the process in detail to help you be able to increase your sales conversions. You get the actual word tracks on how to overcome the objections. The price is too high. I need to think about it. I want to talk to my spouse. You get, maybe 6 or 7 different pages of ways to handle objections. You also get the word tracks on when you're making those phone calls, you're following up, or you're prospecting, what to say. Why is it that so many people struggle when they get somebody on the phone, or they're hoping, many people when they're dialing, they're praying that they get a voicemail rather than a live person. Why? Because they don't know what to say. Until now, the word tracks are created and available for you. All you got to do is plug in your name and your dealership name. You also receive the video tutorials of how to interact with your customers, how to qualify, how to do walkarounds. You also receive the Facebook training, how to advertise and promote yourself on Facebook. You can use the same methods on Instagram, on Snapchat, on LinkedIn. All of it is laid out for you in audio and video programming for the Facebook training. You have the sales training manual, which covers the entire road to the sale. You have the actual word tracks for covering objections, overcoming objections, making phone calls, qualifying your customers, everything you need that you can immediately start using at your store today or tomorrow. Then the choice is yours. You know, I used to offer this stuff to people and charge $1,000 for it. But now, for you, it's only $97. And people say, well, Brian, you know, why are you selling this, that, the other? At the end of the day, I put a lot of free information out, which is probably what got you here. But as far as the way that I work with, and that's just scratching the surface. Once you download the program, now you and I are connected at the hip. And you and I will speak on a monthly basis. Every new updated program that comes out as far as relevant to what we do will be sent to you. So this isn't a one-night stand. This is a long-term relationship with just one initial investment of just $97. And if you think about it, what out there can you invest only $97 that could generally bring you thousands of dollars each and every month? You know, one of the things I say is that how can we ever expect other people to invest in us if we are unwilling to invest in ourselves? So go ahead and click the link. Go on over. It's on PayPal. Go ahead and order it. And immediately after you do it, you'll be able to download it. And it's in a zip file format. You'll be able to download it and immediately start listening to the audios, immediately start watching the videos, immediately start looking at the word tracks, and immediately start putting it to use to make you some money. All right. So again, my hat is off to you for being here this entire time. It says a lot about you. And hopefully you jump on over. I expect you to go on over, order that right now, download your products, and look for my message coming to you for you and I to get together and help you really put this thing out and make this the best year you've ever had in your life. That's my commitment to you. All right. So again, I'm Brian Maxwell. I appreciate you for spending this time with me joining. I hope this helped out. And until the next time, You know, all the best. I look forward to seeing you at the dealership. All right now.